Can I press start?
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. You ready?
Yeah, it was running.
All right, y'all. Welcome to I Had No Idea podcast, brought to you by Landlocked Entertainment. I'm excited today. I'm here with,
Anthony Harvey Jr.
and real quick, I want to tell you guys, the podcast it's really just a conversation that I get to have with genuine people, and it excites me because I think touching on subjects that a lot of people don't have or might be afraid to have or might not have much experience, and just showing y'all that mental health is very important. It's very serious to me, and you don't have to, you know if you think therapy is the only way to go. Some people that works, some people it doesn't. Some people just talking to a loved one, just talking to someone, and just making your voice heard is very important. So that's a big thing. We talk about loss, trauma, hardship. Talk about being a minority, talking about all the hard, tough stuff. But I want to thank Anthony Harvey Jr. for coming on today because we go back to South.
Way back.
And Anthony is someone who you've always put, I think, others first. And I think you've also done just such a tremendous job on making sure the community and just Lawrence in general knows that it's loved, know that it's cared for, and obviously with your line of work, you're really serving and giving back pretty much as you can. And then also I know you're on the board for Boys and Girls Club, which is huge because I'm a big advocate, used to be a mental health counselor for them. So just little things like that. And I want to say welcome. I appreciate you for having me over at your place.
Yeah, man.
And you ready to run it?
Let's run it. What you got?
With Lawrence, and again, I want to preference that there's going to be a lot of times that you might say something and I might not know how to respond. There's going to be a lot of times where I might be at a loss of words, might lose my train of thought, but it's important to me to show that, even a lot of podcasts are very polished. And I just want to show people that, this setup, this whole arrangement is just super casual.
It's one take.
So, yeah. But of course, if there's down the road when we do this, if there's anything you want to take out, I'll always edit it.
Oh, for sure.
But, growing up what was it like for you? And, were there certain challenges? Growing up for myself, it was difficult because I was one of the only Asian American kids. So with you growing up, how was that like?
I mean, I grew up in a really tight knit home, real I like to say it was very like a humble household. Like my parents, my mom worked about 7 days a week. My dad has a government job, so it was a lot of times me and my sister were just figuring things out together. It wasn't like didn't know where the next meal was coming from.
Mm-hmm.
We were very appreciative of everything we got. My mom worked very hard. She was a regional manager in the food industry for 35 years, like ever since she was like 17, 18 years old.
Good for her.
So I think that's what a lot of my work ethic comes from. My mom's a grinder.
Mm-hmm.
My dad was a professional football player, and then he was an agent, and then he chose to work GDIT, like government stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a lot of growing up just seeing my dad, my mom, and how their friends appreciated being at the house. So grew up in a very small 3-bedroom house in East Lawrence. And I think that's what really spoke to like how close I am with some of my close friends and like my family, because like I had the smallest house out of everybody I hung out with, but everybody was always at my house. My parents was always open to have people over and have people just spend time with us. And I think it carries over to now because I'm 26 and we still go hang out at my family's house. Like we'll still go on birthdays and stuff. We'll go pregame over there or just hang out over there. It's nice to be able to enjoy my parents' presence still. Like growing up, my parents weren't too hard on us. They always just told us like, never lie to us and just be honest. So I think building that trust within my parents, like everybody that I was growing up with, they respected that. A lot of my male friends didn't have father figures in their lives. So my father was that for them, just an honest voice to them, somebody that could tell them like, it's love no matter what. And I think that's still true to this day. Like, I was very grateful to have both of my parents in the house. And I think when you're younger, you don't really understand that. Having a lot of friends that don't have mom and dad in the house, or maybe they have stepdad or stepmom. Like I didn't have to go through that.
Yeah.
Going through seeing my parents love each other and um, seeing the struggle that we had financially at times, it was very motivating to, get on my own feet when I could. It was
Mm-hmm.
motivating to go to school and get that paid for and um, go to places in my life and push myself to places where I didn't think I could go,
Mm-hmm.
especially graduating and coming back home to do the job that I do. It wasn't fun for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And it was, a lot of times where I had to look myself in the mirror and check myself to make sure I was still who I was. Because some people get a sense of power and they change.
Mm-hmm.
Some people get a dollar amount in the bank account and they change. And I feel like, if you don't take care of your community, where are you going to go?
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of people, growing up here, everybody's like, oh, I want to go to KC, or I want to be in OP, I want to be in Texas, I want to be in Cali, New
Mm-hmm.
York. And it's nice to have dreams and stuff, but like realistically, making your community better, like that's what makes me feel better. Like I love the fact that we could go out to eat somewhere, or we could go hang out somewhere, and there's probably a local there,
Mm-hmm.
probably somebody that's been there for a while, and that's cool because that relationship, you don't get that in some random town in Missouri. Like
Yeah.
you come to Lawrence and you're bound around, especially around this time of year.
Mm-hmm.
All
Yeah.
the townies is back, man. It's just
Yeah.
good memories and good vibes. So I appreciate the fact that I could stay here and try to be successful, and still working on every day, trying to figure out how to be just a better man. Like I made a lot of mistakes when I was in college and high school, and just finding out who you are, and that is enough. And I think we talk about that a lot. Just like you preach, the kindness just because. Like there's a lot of people that are just hateful and
Mm-hmm.
jealous, and like you've experienced that. I've seen your social media posts, and I've seen uh, your growth, whether it be with the thrift and stuff, whether it be selling shoes back in the day. A lot of y'all don't know. A lot of y'all don't know. I used to be the shoe plug. But like people just jealous when people are doing well in Lawrence. Other people in Lawrence will hate,
Yeah.
whether it's on the low key anonymously, or if it's behind your back, or if it's to your face. Like a lot
Mm-hmm.
of people just hate,
Yeah.
and there's not a lot of people that just genuinely show love to everybody. And I think the IPS thing is a big reason of why you show love, because not everybody gets a chance to feel appreciated.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thankful for Susie Michka every day, because
Yeah.
that IPS stuff, man, that really brought us close, all of us.
Yeah.
And even the generations now, like guys and girls that I don't know, and I'll go back and talk to the class. I know you do too.
Mm-hmm.
That's so important to me because nobody did that to our classes.
Right.
And seeing how um, interacting with people that might not feel as included and making their situation the thing,
Mm-hmm.
like unified sports and things like that. Like I know you share the passion for IPS that I do. And if you don't know, IPS is interpersonal skills. It's working with kids with special needs, like one on one. It's no like, I don't know how to explain it. It's no like we're not putting nobody on a pedestal. Like
Mm-hmm.
everybody's an equal in there.
Yeah.
Susie's very vulnerable. Like the conversations you have in there,
Mm-hmm.
I used to love water polo, stuff like
Yeah.
that. Like those trips are fun because those kids, I don't think a lot of people realize how important they are and how special they are, especially if you have a disability.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm grateful that we grew up in a community that, you're a rock star. Just be who
Mm-hmm.
you want to be. Be who
Yeah.
you are. And I think people respect that a lot.
It's funny. I just saw one of the girls in your grade. I won't say her name, but she had a kid about a year or two ago.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yep. I was at Commerce Bank in Dillon's, and
She was smiling, wasn't she?
yeah, she said, "Hey, Nico." I turned around. And I said, "Oh my gosh, what's up?" And yeah, I mean, it's cool that Lawrence is such an accepting place. I think it's beautiful. I think it's even weird, bro, being in Kansas City. You don't see as much diversity. You don't see as many tattoos. You don't see as much colored hair. So then coming down here into Lawrence, bro, it's night and day.
Be whoever you want to be.
Yeah.
And nobody bats an eye at it. Nobody takes a double look.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe if you got like a Halloween costume on in like
Yeah.
June, but like you can be whoever you want to be here. And if you don't like somebody, you ain't got to say nothing to them.
Yeah. With in your life, I know you've dealt with some death.
Mm-hmm.
I know there was someone close in your life that also went to, or you went to the same school.
Mm-hmm.
What's death been like for you, and how have you found ways to cope, and how have you kind of dealt with just the simple part of losing someone?
Um, when I was in high school, my sister lost her best friend that was like a brother to her. And, I really looked up to him, and I chose to go to Newman University because he was attending Newman when he tragically passed away. And that was one of the best decisions I ever made. There was a lot of nights where I was struggling when I was in college because I was wondering why did I do this to myself, playing college basketball and being in a place to where I knew somebody that was like a brother to me, uh, fell short of his goal, which was getting his degree. Um, but as I got older, it was more of like remembering those people instead of being sad that they're not here. Like losing family members is never easy. Losing grandparents. I lost my mom's mom my junior year of college, and she was a very smart woman. And I wanted her to see me graduate college, and I wanted her to see that I was on the dean's list and I was cum laude. A lot of things that I don't you wouldn't really talk about just a random person, but like, yo, I'm cool. I graduated college with honors and shit, but um, it was something that hurt my heart so bad because I knew that she uh, I just wanted to see her smile when I walked across the stage. And COVID hit, and uh,
Was that the grandma you'd always post about on
yeah, it
your?
was my
Yeah.
neighbor, my next door neighbor. She was a hippie, so it was dealing with death is just it's changed in my life because I started being a police officer, and not to be darkening them, but you see a lot of death, like see people whether you see them die, you watch them die, they're in your arms when they die. Um, and I would say my emotions have taken the biggest toll out of that. There's a lot of things in my life that I'm not as emotional about anymore,
Mm,
and I know my girlfriend's in there; she'd probably agree. I just not an emotional person anymore, and it's not the fact I'm trying to be a Johnny Tough guy or anything. It's
mm-hmm.
just I've seen the worst of the worst. I've seen husbands and wives and siblings and kids like witness their loved one pass away, and how could I feel bad when I got to spend the allotted amount with the person I love most that might have went on to heaven. Like some of these people didn't get a chance to say goodbye, and I've been fortunate enough to um, be able to say my goodbyes and be able to have those events to where I can show my people I love them before they fall. And um, I'm just very grateful that I'm close with the people that I love. It's not like a situation where I'm scared to reach out to people that we used to be close with, and
Mm-hmm.
now we just don't have that touch. Like I think that I went through a very hard situation with my dad when I was a senior. He had a massive heart attack when I was a senior in high school, and he almost lost his life. Um, and that changed me in the sense of like I knew I needed to be close to home. I need to spend time with my family because once the parents are gone, like who are you gonna be there with on the holidays? Like,
Mm-hmm.
and there's just gonna be a void there. And so like situations now, like when tragedy happens, you have to find the positivity in things. Like we can get through this. Like um, my father was just recently diagnosed with prostate cancer, and we found out he was in stage 4. Um, and that shit hit me. But at the same time, I knew that I have to now plan for the future. I got to plan to be there for my mom, be there for my sister if something happens, and I hope it never does. But being grown kind of puts you in that position. Like I'm not worried about spending these last months or years with my father because I already do that.
Mm-hmm.
There's not much more time I can spend with my father. If I see him every day, I talk to him 5 6 times a day. Like he's taught me I gotta look out for the people I'm around. I can't spend time moping around being like, why me, why us? Like
Mm-hmm.
my dad's 59 years old as of yesterday. Like, happy birthday, pops.
Happy late birthday, sir.
But like I've spent a great chunk of my time learning from him and picking his brain. And I feel like he has blessed me with knowledge that, if he were not to be here at some point in the next couple of years, like he's led me to a way that I can leave my family still and I can take care of my mom and my sister. And I think that's what's being grown's about.
Yeah.
Passing that torch off to your parents taking care of you and you in return taking care of them when they need you the most.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what I worry about the most is one, letting my family down, and two, not being able to support my mom or my dad if I make a dumb decision while I'm at work. Like I want to be here to make sure that I can take care of them when they need me the most.
Yeah.
Because I mean, nobody wants to see their parents fall, but at the same time, like I want to make sure my parents know that I appreciate everything they did for me.
Yeah.
We both grew up kind of the same. Like I know you love spending time with your family. You love being over there.
Mm-hmm.
I think that a lot of us kind of grew up similar in the fact of like showing appreciation to the cool parents that we have, because not a lot of people like to go home no more.
Mm-hmm.
We was just talking before we recorded this. You stop by your people's house, like
Yeah.
that's dope to me. Especially if you can have a genuine relationship with them. It's outside of just being a parent.
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah, my parents are who I really give all my flowers and credit to for, raising me to be the young man, especially till I was about probably like 21. Like that was such a, they were such a, they're still super impactful, but the relationship now is a little bit different, being more grown. But I want to say, I'm sorry to hear about your father, and I'm here for
I
you.
appreciate
And
that,
if
man.
you ever need anything, reach out.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, dude, it's a strange, as as we get older, it's strange how I'm able to look back at what my parents did and how it makes more sense. Because as a kid, like you're never really sure. You're thinking, okay, why? You question everything, And then as I've gotten older, I've just felt like, their best intention was what they were leading with. Their love is
Oh
what they were
yeah.
leading with. So it's like they were just wanting and looking out for the best.
And I could imagine having kids in Lawrence during our time of growing up because we wasn't doing nothing, but we was out all the time doing
Yeah.
something. Like
Yeah.
we wasn't like going crazy throwing Project X parties, but we was packing into somebody's car and we was going somewhere.
Yeah.
Like I know your friend group was kind of like mine. Like we didn't have to do a whole lot to have fun.
Right.
We could literally meet up at Holcomb.
I was just
We
gonna
could meet at
say,
Quail. We could do
yeah.
something and we have a good time. Like uh, I don't think kids these days really have those experiences of like meeting at one person's house and having like a giant sleepover and you
Hmm.
don't you pull all nighters and play
Hmm.
video games and stuff like that. Like people don't enjoy that anymore.
Yeah, I feel like even when I drive past parks, I don't see kids outside as much, and that's sad because that's such a like, even falling down and like getting a scrape. You know what I
Well,
mean? Like,
in high school, kids was going to the park so they could smoke during lunch.
oh, they'll all go across the street, yeah,
Oh
and
man,
then
they
they
walk
come
across
back.
the street. They thought they was slick too.
They come back like 30 minutes late at lunch, and the teacher's like, "Are you good?" And
Just
they can
stony
barely they
baloney.
can barely find their seat. They're like, "Where am I?"
Some of
Yeah,
those dudes are still at Veterans Park probably every day.
yeah, I don't doubt it, and they're probably the plugs now
Hey
for the high
man,
school
plugs
kids.
to high school.
It's crazy to me
We
that
joking about it, but that's
no,
probably
I'm being
true.
serious, and it's sad because now that laundromat's out, whole different vibe.
That's
Because that laundromat used to be dirty,
man. It's a donut shop now. It's like $45 for a dozen. It's bougie.
bro. It's crazy. I mean, hey, I'm Munchies for life.
Hey, I'm staying down for lunches.
It's funny. My mom used to go there when she was in college, and
Mm.
until they renovated it like 2 years ago or whatever, it looked the exact same. She said, "I'm like, that's crazy."
They're raising them prices though. They better chill out with
Yeah.
that.
Um.
Supply and demand.
Yeah. You know, kind of going with death and with that loss, you've probably had some traumatic experiences, and
Oh
you've
yeah.
probably had a lot of times where you've had a lot of trauma. You're probably working through different traumas. And what have you found that's helped you cut through some of that stuff? Is it reaching out to loved ones? Is it doing some therapy? Is it just finding things that you love and enjoy and just
I do not. I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't think I've even mastered that yet because I'm the type of person like I don't like bothering people with my problems.
mhm,
You know me. I'll sit down and we could talk about anything. I'll be there for somebody. I'll be a good listener. But me personally, I feel like I stress about just not bothering people with my problems and my worries. I've seen some real terrible things. And it's not like a woe me type thing. I signed up for this and I chose to do this, but it's one of those things like some of the stuff like I could tell you some wild stuff and you probably wouldn't believe it. Just because that's just the nature of my job. Um, but I think the thing that I'm starting to try to get better at is just talking about it before I go to sleep.
mm,
I've suffered from bad night terrors since I was like in middle school or high school. Um, and I think talking about it definitely helps out. I'm at work. I'm on a unit called peer support, and we talk to people after traumatic things, and whether it be to you or a family member, or maybe something you saw at work. And I think that's also helped out a lot because to perfect your craft and listening and trying to guide somebody to brighter days, like you also have to open up and realize what's going on in your life and accept that maybe you need some help too.
mhm,
So a lot of times growing up, like I would just try to bottle things in and act like nothing bothered me. But now, being able to communicate, I have a great girlfriend, and, like my best friend. Like I have really good close friends. Like my parents are close with me. Like even talk to my sister about things from time to time. And it's just one of those things that you got to talk about it to flush it. and holding things down and bottling things in. Like it doesn't work. But also, if realistically, some people don't have those people to talk to. Some people truly do like being alone. And in my days when I first moved back here, and I was 21, and I didn't really have anybody I trusted to tell this stuff that was really heavy on my heart. Like I used to write things down.
Mm.
I got a journal of like the craziest stories I've ever had
Mm-hmm.
since I got back and started working, and that helped me out a lot too because I finally flushed that stuff out, and I didn't tell somebody about it, but it's still in the book that like I told my story and I told my side of it, and it's kind of crazy now looking back 5 years after. Like some of the things that was a huge deal to me when I was 21, just it's not that big of a deal now.
Mm-hmm.
And I hate to say it, but my dad used to always tell me this stuff, like in high school and in college, like the people or the situations that you're stressing about now, like 2 to 3 to 4 years from now, like that stuff won't even be relevant. The girl you tripping about
Mm-hmm.
in high school, everybody has that high school crush that broke
Mm-hmm.
their heart and stuff. Like that's not even something you're gonna think twice about when you grow up. Like
Yeah.
that friend that you was real close with that did you wrong and y'all fell out. Like that's just it's just lessons that you learn. And sometimes, in really grateful fashion, sometimes those friends come back around and you can realize where you can grow at. And that friendship might get stronger. Like I got a few friends, like me and Fred Brew, Fred.
Mm-hmm.
Me and Fred was always together. We played basketball together, same friend group, same age, and we fell out a few times. It was a time we didn't talk for about a year our freshman year of college over some stupid stuff, like very minor things.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't talk. And then I think the story's actually funny. Um, he broke his pinky his freshman year at Denison University.
Okay.
And our high school basketball coach texted me and said, "Hey, Fred, he's out for a little bit. He broke his pinky." So I was being petty. And I texted him, was like, "Hey, man, praying for you. Heard about that pinky surgery, man.
Uh-huh.
Like, prayers up." And he hit me back joking. And that's kind of what started us getting back cool again. It was just weird. We lost a year of being a friend just because of some childish drama that we had in high school. We missed out on so much time. And now, he's obviously been someone very close in my life. He'll be here tomorrow. I
Nice.
think him and Free are coming back tomorrow.
Oh, for
So
real? Nice.
just stuff like that, like just learning from those mistakes. Like, everybody done tripped about a girl with their friends, and
Uh-huh.
everybody's tripped about maybe a couple dollars that they helped them out with at McDonald's or something.
Mm-hmm.
Like learning to let that small stuff go because it really doesn't matter in the grand scheme of it.
Yeah.
But that's kind of what I've learned. Just learning from the mistakes, whether that be the grieving mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
People think that the alcohol and the weed and the drugs that's gonna help out. That's just a temporary solution to a longer problem.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I've fallen in that trap of the alcohol before, like when I was younger, and going out and drinking and getting drunk, trying to think that that was gonna replace it. Not saying that drinking and getting drunk's a bad thing. If you want to go do that moderately, or you want to do it when you get off work, stuff like that, that's not a terrible thing.
Mm-hmm.
But trying to mask your problems with that, like that can fuck you up.
Yeah.
The drugs that could really set you back, just
Mm-hmm.
because like you're not solving anything. You're just trying to like delay your brain from thinking about it. And I think young people really get sidetracked by that.
Yeah.
When people go through a heartbreak or something, it's like, oh, we're finna get fucked up. Like
Mm-hmm.
in the moment, yeah, it's fine. You're trying to forget, but you're just gonna delay the inevitable.
Yeah.
So I think that, and knowing you for a while, I know that you've been all about positivity since the day I met you. Um, and even someone like you, I know you've went through times in your life where you were like, I'm here for all these people, but who's here for me?
Mm-hmm.
And it takes a minute to realize like who is there? Like
Mm-hmm.
who is somebody that is gonna hit me up first on my birthday, or they're
Mm-hmm.
gonna hit me to make sure I'm good. So I think we can relate a lot on that. Like we care so much about people, but
Mm-hmm.
at some point you have to step back and think like, well, I got to take care of myself.
Yeah. Definitely. Definitely. I think. Yeah, bro. I did an experiment. This was like probably 5 to 7 years ago, where I took my birthday off Snapchat because I had a lot of people, of course. And to be honest, I don't like that. I don't like if you only hit me one day of the year, don't hit me at all.
No,
So,
I feel that.
dog, I did that, and I've done it ever since. I've never put it back. But what that taught me in that moment, where there were about 5 people that hit me up, my parents, sister, like 2 close friends. But more importantly, what that taught me was that people are so caught up in their own life, in their own world, and the perception that people have of others is always miscalculated. Until you have conversations like these, you're not really going to know how someone's thinking, how someone's going through stuff. So it's like a lot of times, um, it's strange because people will see like me interacting with people or around a lot of people, but I have my parents and I have one homie, and people like never believe me when I say that, but it's like people don't when you don't reach out first, you really see who's there, and that taught me a lot because I had a lot of friendships that I thought were mutual that were only still going because of I was putting in all the effort.
Mm-hmm.
And for a
That shit'll
while,
get you at first.
bro, and yeah, that's what I'm saying. For a while it hurt, but then at the end of the day, it's more so of, if you know who you are, you're good. And having even just my parents just allows me to be able to go into everything. But what you were saying too is, yeah, I have nothing against people who smoke, drink, do drugs. But what's sad is that you see a lot of people running from the demons, running from the problems. And it makes me sad because hurt people hurt people. And it's tough to see so many people get lost.
No, and it's bad, and I'll be the first one to admit, like before I was a first responder, like I didn't understand mental health, like uh, I wasn't face to face with it. But now being around it and having to face some of my own trials and tribulations, like I'll be the first one to tell you if you need help, you need to call somebody, you need to pick up the phone, even if it's just calling 911 and be like, yo, I need to talk to somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think a lot of people forget that you can call 911 for anything, but if you have nobody to talk to, you need to pick up the phone.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
And I think it's 711 now is the
yeah, the
suicide
non,
line.
yeah,
Yeah.
like there's so many options just to get things off your chest, even if it's to somebody you'll never meet,
Mm-hmm.
never talk to again. And I used to struggle. Like, I don't want to talk to somebody I know about these things. I don't want somebody looking at me different.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can talk to somebody, you don't even have to see them.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I think that's a big thing now, is like just people knowing that it's okay to not be okay.
Yeah.
Seeing people take their life too young,
Mm-hmm.
seeing people take their life when they have people depending on them. Like, nobody wants to see that happen.
Mm-hmm.
And it's tough because we're starting to see these celebrities and these superstars that people look up to, and they die too young, and
Mm-hmm.
they have so much to impact on people's lives.
Yeah.
And I think that you see the stuff on social media like, oh, we made the right person famous. Like,
Mm-hmm.
there's certain people that are so special, and they impact our lives so much. And it goes back to what we just talked about. But who's taking care of me?
Mm-hmm.
Like, how am I going to take care of me?
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, you bring up a great point about, I have nothing against people that use substances, uh, and I have no secret to say it. Like, my family has their troubles with, whether it be substance abuse or mental health problems, but that just gives you more reason to wrap your arms around people you love and love them, and hold them accountable.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing wrong with holding somebody accountable respectfully and with love.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we need. I think our generation is a little soft,
Mm-hmm.
and having somebody that you care about reach out to you and be like, hey man, you're going down the wrong path.
Yeah.
And whether I got to walk this with you, or we just got to get somebody from the outside to get you up, we got to do it. But you should never be afraid to tell your friends the honest truth.
Yeah.
Um, and you also made a really great point I wanted to touch on, just the having a small circle. There's nothing wrong with it.
Less drama.
When we were growing up, it was always so cool to be like, oh, I know such and such, or like, I talk to such and such, like such and such be messaging me on the weekends so we can hang out, big groups. Like, I think it's nice now that, like, I kind of know how my weekend's gonna go. Like,
Yeah.
I got a group message for probably like 8 dudes that we locked in. We play cards, we play dominoes, and that's my ideal weekend. We might
Yeah.
step out at like 11:30, about an hour or so, but like, I'm trying to get on the blackjack and I'm trying to get on the dominoes. Like, let's play the game, let's do something fun. Like, that is when I knew, like, I was growing up, when I didn't have to worry about hitting up 5 different friend groups to see
Mm-hmm.
who wanted to kick it. And if nobody wants to hang out, I will sit on this couch. I got a dog in this house, a
Mm-hmm.
cat in this house, and my girlfriend. And,
Comfy couch.
hey, we sit in here and hang out, man. We watch
Yeah.
movies, play the game, listen to music. There's just so much fun things you can do when you're just happy in life. And I think finding that happiness is a lifelong journey. But
Yeah.
I mean, when you're on the road and you're having a good time, man, this life is so great. And we only get one life.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very blessed to live the life I live. I'm very blessed to have the people in my life, and I'm blessed that I've went through the trials and tribulations I have had, because that's what makes me being here right now more fun.
Yeah. My therapist said something to me that blew me away. I always love bringing this up, but I was so lost at this time because I was trying to find my old happiness, and she kind of stopped me when I was explaining it to her, and she was saying, "What used to make you happy doesn't make you happy anymore. What makes you happy now is going to be different from 2 weeks, 2 years, 10 years down the line before." And when she said that to me, bro, that's been one of the most impactful sayings, phrases, whatever I've ever heard, because I was trying to, and I've always tried to live in the moment, but it wasn't until I was checked, because like respectfully, she checked me and put it in a new perspective. And
And you needed that.
I needed that, and that got me out of that right away. That new frame where I was able to look through was so um, right what I needed at the right time. And I think it's amazing. And and that's one thing I love about life is that it's always changing. It's always throwing curveballs. It's always throwing blessings, and just being able to take all of that and to still walk through life and not have those affect you, and not have them knock you down as much as they could, or not have them get you on a super high and ride that. So yeah, it's that was a really cool saying. Um, with have you always wanted to be a cop?
No,
No?
actually, funny story about that. I was dating a girl, and I was a sophomore in high school, and she was a junior. And I went to go meet her family for the first time, and went out there, and her dad was, "So what are you gonna do when you grow up?"
Mhm.
At this time, I still think I'm finna play pro or something. I think I'm
Mhm.
finna hoop. And
Yeah.
so I was like, I gotta think of a good answer. And I don't know why. I was like, oh, I'm gonna be a cop. And he
Okay.
was like,
Respect.
an officer. I respect that. And so then I just started thinking like, damn, like, it would be kind of lit. So I went to college. I went to a private school, a Division II school, and I was like, I have to study something while I'm here. I
Uh-huh.
can't I can't just do communications like everybody else, because I really don't care about that. And they at my college, Newman University, had a really good criminal justice program. In a city like Wichita, where the crime rate is very high,
Yeah.
I learned a lot. I got hands-on experience. And I think the biggest blessing that ever happened in my life, and I don't think a lot of people know this, was my biggest failure. I was working with the Wichita Police Department on my internship. It was one of my only classes my senior year. I was doing an internship in season, so I had no free time. Like I'm going to the police department to do ride-alongs daily to try to get like 90 hours, and I'm working with them. And I applied to the Wichita Police Department. At this time, I was um, 20, 21 years old. Like I was trying to figure out, I didn't want to come back home. This is before COVID. I'm like, man, I want to make a life out here. I had
Mhm.
my friends were going to do one more year at Newman. And I was dating a girl up there at the time. And I was like, you know what? Like, this is what I want to do. And I applied up there, and I went to take my aptitude test. And their aptitude test was 100 questions, and you had to do it in an hour. And
Oh
you had to
wow.
get a 70 on it just to get an interview.
Dang.
And I took the test, and the girl's grading, and I'm over here happy, like, man, I'm finna make this stuff happen. Like, I already know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And I got a 69, no BS. I got a 69.
Dang.
I was 1 point off, and she said we rechecked it 3 or 4 times. And I remember that feeling, that pit in my stomach. I felt like the biggest failure ever. And I had to go to practice right after that. And I just felt like I was the biggest loser ever. Like obviously, you off after something like that. My
Mhm.
coaches are like, man, what's going on with you, man? You're different today. Like my energy was low. And I was in a very dark place at that time. I didn't want to hoop anymore. I just wanted to make money. I was tired of being myself. I was tired of being broke. I was tired of my parents helping me out financially. I'm selling shoes just to make sure that I can come home, and the checks that I'm getting at school, I'm spending on like tattoos and Xboxes and stuff.
Yeah.
So like that really motivated me after I stopped feeling bad for myself. COVID hit right after, so I was forced to come home.
Mm.
I graduated after taking online classes like everybody else for a month or so. My graduation was on YouTube. Like my life changed, and then my mentor, Myron Grady, he's a lieutenant. He's like, my uncle, man, he hit me
Oh,
up.
Officer Grady
Yeah,
from
he
South.
he hit me up, and he's known everything. Like I communicated with him the whole time I was gone, and he's like, man, like I know, we said Lawrence probably wasn't the place to work just because of XYZ. It'd be hard to be a cop in your hometown, but like, man, we got an opening here, and you might as well try it. And that was the biggest blessing of my life, was being able to come here and be a police officer. And it all stemmed from me failing.
Mm.
Like I had to learn from my mistakes. I had to learn that just because I thought that was the vibe and that was what was going to happen, uh, it led me to coming here. Now coming here, like I dealt with a lot of BS when I got back. Like
Hmm.
um, I was dating the girl I was in college with, and I thought I was going to be with her forever, and we broke up suddenly after 5 years and
Oh, dang.
4 or 5 years, and I was doing wrong. I wasn't going to visit. I wasn't being a good boyfriend. I wasn't being a good man. I'd made a lot of mistakes, and it took me a while to realize that like I made those mistakes, and it's okay because like I learned from them. Like I would never want to treat somebody like that. I would never want to be treated like that. And to this day, I try to work on that. I still have a lot to go with my current relationship, and like we talked about earlier, BK has been one of my friends since 7th grade.
Yeah.
So working on my issues with somebody that knows me more than just her boyfriend, like I've figured that, I've had a lot of learning lessons in my life, and you have to have those bad experiences to learn from them.
Hmm.
Nobody's perfect, especially relationship wise, but all I can do is try to be better every day.
Yeah.
And that all ties into that failure I had in Wichita. It was a blessing in disguise that I wasn't supposed to be there, and that wasn't the situation I was supposed to be in. And I came home and reconnected with great people, and it ended up being one of the best decisions of my life. I love being home. These past 5 years in Lawrence has been great working. There's been a lot of tough times, but there's been better times because I can give back to my community firsthand,
Hmm.
and I'm not hiding. A lot of cops try to hide their name and try to hide, what they do. I can't hide. Like
Hmm.
it's very obvious. I'm I'm the nappy headed light skinned cop. Like so, I mean, you got to treat people right though. I can't be out here being an asshole to everybody.
Yeah.
Got to treat people with respect. So I really appreciate that. I could learn from that at an early age.
Yeah.
But yeah, that shit hit me, man. When I found out I got 69, I needed a 70. That shit
That's
sucked.
crazy.
But
Dang. That's a cool story. Um, and how also persevered. If you didn't have that perseverance and those great connections, that just goes to show that if you want something and you keep going at it, that eventually the universe will make it happen. Because obviously you put the work in, and with your line of work, is it hard for you to kind of, some people take work home.
mhm.
When you're outside of work, you're very active in the community still, doing other things, doing side things, doing charity work. Has it been hard to kind of switch that mindset? Or let's say you had a really bad day at work and then you got to go and you got to coach or you got to do an event,
Mhm.
how do you find yourself keeping, um, I don't even know, like keeping level headed or just
Yeah.
keeping it cool?
I think the biggest thing for me was figuring out Harvey and Officer Harvey, and essentially it's the same. I'm the same person whether I'm at work or not.
Hmm.
I like to use the analogy like I talk to my sergeant, my chief, my mom, my dad, my best friends. Like I talk to everybody the same way, just like this. Like I talk with slang. I talk very quiet, and I like to joke around a lot. Like
Hmm.
I am who I am, and it's not in the sense of like power. Like oh, I'm a cop. I can do what I want. No, it's like I have this responsibility, and I have a lot to lose if I don't treat you right. I have a lot to lose if I don't think about the consequences of my actions. Not to say I haven't done stupid things since I've been home, but like I've had to learn from like, okay, that's probably not smart.
Hmm.
But learning that it's okay to be who I am. It's okay to be an officer. It's okay to try to shift the culture.
Hmm.
The reason I wanted to come home and be a cop is because I was scared of cops. I did not like cops when I grew up.
Hmm.
And it's nice now, the biggest, baddest criminals you can imagine that be downtown or wherever they're in Lawrence. Hey, oh, what's up, man? You good? While I'm at work. And my homies and my people I'm working with, like it's nice to see that people have a common sense of respect for officers now just because they might know one or two of them.
Yeah.
And that relationship helps down the road with everybody's safety.
Yeah.
Everybody always tries to talk about like, F-12 and this and that, and defund the police. Like, I can't be mad at people for saying that because I used to say the same things when I was younger because I didn't understand the police.
Hmm.
I didn't understand that, you know, just because you upholding the law and you protecting a servant doesn't mean you don't go home and crack a beer when you get home, or you don't go home and get on the game.
Hmm.
You don't be at Leroy's, you don't be at the Red Lion
Hmm.
or Luis's West, like stuff like that. Like everybody's a person. They just
Hmm.
do things differently. And it took me meeting these people and relating to these people. I've met some of my best friends ever since I've been a cop. And I never thought that would happen. Like it's just really understanding. And like I don't think the community thinks about it like this. Like when you call the cops as a citizen, that is probably one of the worst days of your life. For me, that's every day that I respond to a call. So even on my bad days, I still got to show you love because you could be going through trauma. You could be going through some scary shit. And I have to deal with you the same way I would deal with my moms or my grandma or someone when they called. Now, it took me a while to figure that out. Like, why are people so mean to us? And it's because a lot of these cops in different communities, they got cop face.
Mm.
It's all like, stern, like,
Mm.
what do you need? Like, I'm Officer such and such. I'll barely ever say I'm Officer Harvey. I'm just Harvey, man. I barely say I'm Coach Harvey at the school. I'm just Harvey because, like, that's how comfortable I am with being myself.
Mm.
Um, and I want to make a change so bad in this community that one day we can realize that it's just a job.
Hmm.
It's a job that I care a lot about and I take very serious. But when I come home, I am not a cop.
Hmm.
When that work phone rings, I gotta go and I gotta respond to some stuff. Yeah, I'll do that. But like, I'm not running nobody's tags when I'm driving in my personal car. And I'm probably doing 10 over the speed limit when I'm driving. Like, I don't like when cops is behind me now. I've been
Yeah.
pulled over 3 times since I've been a cop in Lawrence. Like, that shit sucks.
Yeah.
So, like, realizing that we're all people and everybody can make a mistake, I think I learned the most when I started realizing that good people can make mistakes and get arrested.
Yeah.
Like, not everybody that gets arrested is a criminal. Not
Right.
everybody that commits a crime is a criminal. A lot of people make mistakes. A lot of young people, a lot of old people. Everybody makes mistakes. It's how you react to that
Hmm.
and how you make a change from that to make sure it doesn't happen again.
Yeah.
We
Exactly.
deal with 10% of the community 90% of the time.
Yeah.
I can tell you about 20 people's first, last, middle name, and date of birth
Yeah.
because I deal with them every day. But I also can tell you that there's been people that I love and that are very close to me that I've had to put the handcuffs on, and our relationship got better from that.
Mm.
But I also lost a lot of friends when they found out what I was doing because
Yeah.
they didn't understand I'm doing this for us. If I was trying to be rich and be a cop, I would not work in Lawrence.
Hmm.
I would work in Overland Park.
Hmm. Yeah.
I want to make a change here so bad so like my young bulls that I'm coaching or whatnot, they know they got a profession they could come to.
Yeah.
It's okay to make mistakes. People that are cops make mistakes.
Hmm.
It's just about how you come back from them. So I mean, I think that's like you would be the perfect cop because you come to work and you would enjoy your 10 hours. I do errands while I'm at work. I go see my mama when I'm at work. I will go to get a bite to eat at work. It is what you make it to be,
Yeah.
and you treat everybody how you want to. And
Yeah.
some people just don't take the opportunity to bless other people with kindness.
Yeah. That's an amazing insight. I'm so thankful you shared that. I think that's going to be huge. And you kind of touched on it a little bit, but my follow up question was going to be, when people found out that you were becoming a cop or when they found out you were, on the force, how did that affect some of your relationships? And did you lose a few people because they were upset or I mean, obviously you said they weren't, they were unsure, but yeah, how'd that look like?
Now, I lost one of my childhood homies when I started becoming a cop because he was on the other side and
Mm.
he couldn't understand why I would do that. And then, like, my mom and dad, like, their friends, some of them didn't know which way to feel.
Hmm.
Um, my sister, her friends didn't really understand it. But then I look to where I'm at now and to see that some of those people did come back and they realized and they apologized. Like, if you dislike me because of where I work and I'm obviously not working somewhere where we like hurt people and stuff
Hmm.
like that. Like, I'm working somewhere where I want to be a part of something that could be a generational blessing.
Mhm.
that you know your son or daughter can come make a difference. And it doesn't have to just be males. We need sisters.
Mhm.
We need Hispanics. We need natives. We need Asians. We need everybody, because I think people are more comfortable when they see who they think they are.
Facts.
When they see somebody, it's like, man, that motherfucker talks like me, or
Yeah.
man, that motherfucker got braids just like me.
Yeah.
Like, or like when females see a strong, like independent woman being
Mhm.
able to be out here and hold her own, like, I think that speaks to people the most. And we're getting out of that generation where a cop's not just a 6 foot white dude with a bald fade and a mustache.
Yeah.
Like, we have a lot of minorities in Lawrence.
Yeah.
We have Asians, we have natives, we have Africans, we
Mhm.
have people from the United Kingdom. Like, we have people from all walks. People that they like girls, they like guys, they
Mhm.
don't like anybody.
Mhm.
Like, it's nice to see that you can be whoever you want to be and come to work and people are gonna love you the same.
Yeah.
And it's crazy though, because the community, people are drunk or high or whatnot, the racial slurs, all these things. I get called the N word with the hard R probably once or twice a week. I don't even get mad about that no more. I think it's funny. But my white coworkers, my
Mhm.
native coworkers, oh, they ready to go to war over that. And that speaks to me 1,000 times that somebody that doesn't know how it feels to be called that word will go to war for you because of it.
Mm.
It's not a crime to call somebody a racial slur, but you know in your heart that you're dead wrong for that.
Mhm.
Um, Freedom of speech is a very tricky thing, but freedom of speech doesn't give you the right to disrespect somebody because of how they were born or how they feel. And I don't think that when people are in this traumatic state of mind that they understand that. Uh, but to have the support of some of my coworkers, that's the greatest thing. And I have to pay that back when maybe minorities are getting on to them about being quote unquote racist and stuff, just because somebody's a cop and they were called here to do something,
Mhm.
to interview you, to arrest you or whatnot, doesn't make them racist.
Right.
I'm not saying there aren't bad cops in the world,
Mhm.
but I'm telling you that being a police officer is the hardest job in the world when you don't understand why the police are in your community doing the things that they're doing. And I think Lawrence is getting to that point to where they're making our job easier because they're showing the cool things that we can do. We go shopping with kids for Christmas toys. We hand out candy on Halloween. We give out turkeys on Thanksgiving. Like, I think that we are starting to get towards a place to where it's peace, love, and positivity all the time. Even when I got to put them cuffs on you, even if I got to chase you in a car, chase you
Mhm.
on foot after we get done wrestling or whatnot, it's still love
Mhm.
because that's over with.
Yeah.
Like, why would I be mad at you because you got me some cardio, you know?
Yeah.
So I mean, I like that we can talk about that because I don't think a lot of people have the courage to talk about the ins and outs of how that makes somebody feel.
Yeah.
Somebody calls you a racial slur like on the street, you might have to square with them. You might have to square up. But my job, somebody calls you that word, you gotta bite the bullet. You just
Yeah.
gotta kind of take it. Um, and it takes those experiences and those tough conversations to realize how we can be there for each other.
Yeah.
So, not to get too deep on you,
No, not at
but I
all.
like getting on that topic because
Yeah.
people don't know, like, people don't understand. Like, you can say whatever you want to the police unless you're not threatening them.
Mhm.
And to have that support of your coworkers saying, "No, that shit's fucked up. I got your back."
Yeah.
That's respect.
Yeah. No, I mean that's hella cool to hear and just show. And I think it's so positive that even when you're cracking jokes at work, you post on your stories, you post that, and
Hmm.
I think that's been super. It's probably been super beneficial because there's probably a lot of people who have certain thoughts and think certain ways because probably a relative or a friend probably got in
Hmm.
trouble, but
And I can
um,
respect that too. Like, I've seen my father get arrested, um, and that changed the way I do my job.
yeah,
I try not to arrest people in front of their kids.
yeah,
I know how that feels watching your parents, your loved ones get arrested, and I understand it. Like, and I think that's okay to have that immediate sense of, man, fuck those guys. Why are they always why are they always coming at us and stuff like that? But to say that and not be open to a conversation on how
hmm
we can change that perception, I think that's the wrong part.
yeah.
It's never wrong to have feelings.
And bro, that's a huge thing. Conversation. A lot of I got a lot of hate recently, and a lot of it's because they just see the outside and they just make a quick assumption. And I always encourage. I'm like, hey, like let's have a conversation. Let's like I'm sad. I'm sorry that you feel a certain way and you're spewing hate. I would love to have a conversation because that's not my message. That's not my goal. But
Even if we don't agree at the end of that conversation,
yeah,
at least we was grown ups and talked about it. It's
and
okay
that's
to agree to disagree.
exactly, that's something I think more people. I wish more people were open to knowing that it's okay to disagree about anything and everything, but having the conversation and just letting the other person hear where you're coming from is the best thing you can do. So
for sure, I think you bring up a great point in that. You've always been good at justifying the emotions because it's okay. I think a lot of people are scared to be a grown man with emotions.
yeah,
And I used to be one of them people. I ain't gonna lie to you. So I mean, you bring up great points. I think that what you're doing here with this, and even how you push your brand, and how you have grown up so much in the aspect of being okay with who you are. A lot of people from this city want to be something that they're not, and they won't stop chasing that false satisfaction until it's too late.
yeah,
It's okay to be different.
yeah,
Preferably, it's actually more fun to be different.
yeah.
And you figure that out. So I mean, I appreciate what you do, and I appreciate you coming here to let me voice my opinion, because this type of stuff's fun.
Hell yeah.
And we go way back.
Yeah.
My door is always open for you to come and invite you to these conversations, because I don't think a lot of people get this real one-on-one.
Yeah. Yeah, bro. Hey, I appreciate you so much. This has been a pleasure.
Love, man.
Hey, y'all, that's it for this one. Y'all know the drill. If you guys have any questions or comments, leave in the comments below, please. This has been another episode of I Had No Idea, brought to you by Landlocked Entertainment. Appreciate y'all. Kind of just because. Peace and love.
It's always peace and love. Hey, shout out to East Lawrence, though.
Big facts.
Yeah,
Appreciate you, dog.
That shit was good.
Yeah, that was fire.
That was good.
I got a big